In this video, I'm going to show you how to make money on YouTube without ever showing your face or even stepping in front of a camera. I'm going to give you a great niche to do this in, script templates for your videos, title templates for your videos, how to get your videos generated by other people so you can effectively potentially make money on YouTube without ever even making videos, and then how to actually make money doing this and grow your channel. So first, let's start off with the niche, which is travel. Now, why are we choosing the travel niche, and why is travel such a great niche? Well, one of the biggest advertisers on YouTube is the company Expedia, and it would make sense for big travel companies like them to put their ads on travel-related videos. And what this means for you is that I would estimate travel videos to have a higher CPM, meaning they would make more money per 1,000 views than most niches on YouTube. You might be saying, Matt, I need some proof that this is working, and here are some channels that are doing this. Channels that are doing this include the channel Turopia, Mojo Travels, Scary Harry, and World According to Briggs. The channel Turopia, for example, produces videos on the top 5 or 10 places to visit in a certain state, city, or country. And this channel only posts one video per month, yet they're able to pull in 4.9 million views per month. Now you might be saying, Matt, that's great, but how much could this channel potentially actually be making? Well, if we estimate just based off of ad revenue, and I'm going to go over some alternative monetization sources very shortly within this video right here so I can show you how to make even more money, but just from ad revenue alone, this channel, based off of a $15 CPM, which would be my estimate, would be pulling in $73,000 per month, which is absolutely crazy, especially given the fact that you could easily translate these channels into other languages, effectively multiplying your revenue, and this is exactly what I do with my channels as well. And within my course, Tube Mastery, I also give you 240 additional example channels if you ever want to check that out. So now that you see that this is in fact possible, let's go through the exact steps that you'd have to take to actually do this. And that all starts with getting a video idea. And I recommend getting video ideas from a few different places. Typically on most of the channels that I run, I split half of my video ideas coming from already popular videos and the other half coming from keyword tools such as vidIQ. But I still validate that the video ideas I get using tools like vidIQ are still getting a lot of views on YouTube and have been proven to work. And a great way for you to come up with video ideas and great title ideas as well is to see titles that have worked on YouTube, and specifically title formats that have worked great on YouTube. And let me give you a couple of examples right now. For example, you could say what you need to know about blank city, state, or country, or the top 10 most blank cities in state or country. And some examples of that could be the top 10 most secluded towns in the United States, and this video got 5 million views, or the top 10 most violent small towns in America, and this video got 3 million views. Another title format could be the top 10 best places to live in a country or state, or the top 10 best places to visit in a country, state, or city, the top 10 best things to do in a country, state, or city, and a city or country travel guide. And using a lot of these different title formats, there's effectively almost an infinite amount of video ideas that you could come up with, just given the sheer amount of places on Earth that you could make videos on. And you could make videos about the top 10 things to do in a country or city, the top 10 things not to do, and there's so many ideas that are out there. And I recommend validating that some of those ideas have worked directly on YouTube by searching it and then filtering the results that come up by the most viewed within the past 6 months to see if videos are going up regularly that people have a lot of interest in. And I recommend making sure that there are videos that come up with at least 50 to 100,000 views. Some more places that you can get inspiration for your videos include a ton of the different travel websites and blogs that are out there. For example, the website US News Travel has tons of different travel guides on so many different states and cities and countries, and you can use some of these resources as inspiration for your own videos. Now let's talk about actually producing your videos. Video production all starts with a video idea, and then the next step is getting a script written. And in order to make it easier for you for writing scripts, I put together a little script template that I'm going to go over right now for the travel niche. So for example, if you're producing a travel guide on a certain city, you can run through this checklist to make sure you go over a bunch of the things that people are typically most interested in when it comes to visiting that city or country or whatever. And basically you want to fill out the name of the city, a fun fact about that city, at least 3 different of the top things to do within that city. Think about attractions or other things to do. And again, you can research this up on places like US News Travel, some of the best hotels in the city, and some of the best restaurants and places to eat also within the city. And then I also recommend looking up that city on places like Reddit to see what people who actually live there say about the city and things that they recommend that people visiting do. Then you can include all of this information into your script, write a little bit about each of these different things, and before you know it, you'll have a full video script written. And I don't just recommend getting inspiration from one YouTube video or one website. I recommend pulling inspiration from at least 3 different sources, ideally even more, because that way you're going to have the most well-rounded video possible and give a ton of value to the end viewer. And at the end of the day, whoever gives the most value within their videos while keeping people's attention are the ones that succeed long term. And the travel niche is a great example of a niche that is typically very evergreen, meaning there's always a lot of demand for travel. Even during times that travel was shut down, like last year, there was still a ton of demand in it because people wanted to vicariously live through YouTube videos and see what different places are like and what travel is like, even though they weren't able to do it. Now, once you have your script written, then it's time to record a voiceover, and you can simply do that using your phone or getting a cheap microphone like a Fifine K669B or a Blue Yeti Nano. Now let's talk about where to find videos and pictures for your travel videos. So I'm gonna go over some free places, some paid places, and then getting videos directly off of YouTube. Let's start with some of the free places, which include Pixabay.com, Pexels, Videvo, and Dareful. And some of the paid places you can look into are Storyblocks, which is what I personally use with my team, and then also you have Envato Elements. Now you might be asking, Matt, what about pulling clips directly from YouTube? Aren't there channels that do that? And yes, that is very true. In fact, a lot of the channels that I personally run primarily use clips directly off of YouTube. Now, here's what we're not doing when we do that. We don't just copy paste YouTube clips into my videos and then just re-upload the videos. Instead, I am using clips from other people's videos, but I'm making sure to make it transformative and fair use by doing an original voiceover in the video, making it educational in nature, and most importantly, making it different in nature than the original. And this means you don't just re-upload the videos or do a robot voiceover or something like that. You do a real original human voiceover on top of the video, putting multiple different clips throughout the video, making it different in nature than the original. And I'm not personally a lawyer, so this isn't legal advice or anything. I'm just telling you what I've personally done with this. And I highly recommend making sure to read YouTube's support page that talks further in depth about fair use if this is something you're interested in. Also, my course goes way more in depth on this also. So now that you got your script written, you've recorded your voiceover, and you found some clips and pictures to use within your videos, now it's time to actually get them edited. And some free editing programs include HitFilm Express, OpenShot, Shotcut, and if you're on Mac, you can also use iMovie. Now, my favorite paid editing program is an editor called Power Director. It's very simple, straight to the point, easy to use, and I do love and recommend it. However, it does cost money. Now, some editing tips in order to make sure your videos get a high amount of audience retention is to always be changing up what's actually happening within the video. And yes, this does mean a little bit of extra work, but if you put in that little bit of extra work, whether it be 30 minutes, an hour longer into editing your video, it can really pay off down the line, because if you keep people on your videos, YouTube is likely to push your videos more. So how do you keep people on your videos? Well, I recommend at least changing up what's going on in your video every 3 to 6 seconds. And that's because the average attention span of people, so I've heard, is around 7 seconds, and it's probably decreasing over time. So you want to keep it as snappy as possible, putting as many cuts as possible throughout your video, switching to a new thing that makes sense to show within the video, and then also making use of titles. A lot of YouTubers don't use titles enough within their videos, so I highly recommend putting intermittent titles throughout your video on what's being talked about, just like as you can see with my personal brand channel right here, we put titles throughout the video to help keep attention, as well as animations and stuff like that. And then finally, when you have your whole video edited together and ready to upload on YouTube, one of the most important parts of making sure your video performs great is something called click-through rate, which is the percentage of people who click to watch your video when they see it showing up in different places. YouTube will test your content out to certain search terms and on different places on YouTube, and you need to make sure that people click it, because even if it's the best video ever, YouTube's not going to know that if you don't get people to click. So how do you get people to click? Well, this all comes down to having a great title and thumbnail. We already talked about titles, so now let's focus on the more important part of getting a high click-through rate, which is having a great thumbnail. And ironically, having a great thumbnail is typically easier than having a bad thumbnail. And let me explain what I mean by that. Usually, the worst thumbnails on YouTube have a ton of text on them, are really hard to understand, have like 5 different things going on within the thumbnail. Whereas some of the best performing thumbnails on YouTube are simple, they're straight to the point, everything is big, and if there is text, it's kept to an absolute minimum. So the best practices that you can actually pull away from this is keep the amount of primary elements within your thumbnail to 3 or below, and then also make everything as big as you possibly can within the thumbnail. Keep a high amount of contrast, use bright colors if you can, and keep the amount of text to an absolute minimum. And in terms of how you should actually make your thumbnails, I recommend modeling what has already worked as much as possible. This doesn't mean copy, but take into consideration that if a lot of the channels that you're seeing on YouTube include a bit of text within their thumbnail, this is typically a good idea to do something similar. Not to say that you can't experiment with other types of thumbnails, but I would keep that to a minimum because while you can experiment, it's not proven to work, so you run some risk with doing that. So I recommend mostly modeling what's already worked and then leaving maybe 10% of your content strategy open to experimenting. And some free image editors you can look into include Snappa, Canva, and my favorite, paint.net. So now that you know how to actually generate your videos yourself, I would actually recommend generating 1 to 3 videos yourself, even if you want to hire other people to make your videos for you. Just so you know how the process goes, and so it's a little bit easier when it finally does come time to outsource. So now let's talk about outsourcing your content creation, how to get other people to make your videos for you. I run a ton of different YouTube channels, and there's no way at all that I would be able to do so if I was making every single video for each of the channels that I run. The only way that I'm able to do this is by hiring other people. So let's talk about how you can potentially do the same, how much it'll cost, where to find people, and so on. In terms of where to hire people from, I recommend Upwork as my #1 place. This is my go-to place, and I try to keep everybody that I hire under Upwork if I can. Another place you can look into is Fiverr, and then also Freelancer. Now, what should you say in your actual job post when you're posting to a platform like Upwork? Well, I actually give you word-for-word script templates within my program Tube Mastery 2.0. You can check that out down at the link in the description if you're interested. And I also show you actual examples of me hiring people and how exactly I do that. Now, how much should you pay for a 10-minute video for each of the different jobs that goes into generating a video? For scripts, I recommend paying between $10 and $40. For voiceovers, the range can be between $10 and $30. For video editing, you're looking at $25 to $80 per video. And in total, that would be $45 to $150 per video. And this depends highly on the quality. Most of my channels hover around the $100 per video mark, but keep in mind I do pay in bulk, usually at around like 7 scripts or 7 voiceovers at a time for most of the different things I pay for, so you can negotiate lower amounts of money, and these are very high quality videos. So now you know how to get content generated. Let's talk about actually making money doing this, because at this point you're probably saying, Matt, that's all great, I know how to do all that, but how do I actually make money doing this? And there are 3 primary ways you can potentially make money, especially within the travel niche. Starting with way #1, which is ad revenue. The great thing about the travel niche is that it is likely to have a higher CPM just due to the fact that there's giant advertisers like Expedia, Orbitz, Hotels.com, who are all putting their ads likely on travel-related terms. And in order to take full advantage of this, I would recommend producing videos longer than 8 minutes long, because that way you can put multiple ad breaks throughout your videos. And how many ad breaks should you put? Well, I recommend spacing them out between 2 and 3 minutes per ad break, and then tapering them off towards the end of the video. Way #2 to earn income in the travel niche is affiliate revenue. You can sign up for affiliate programs with big travel websites, like I would actually look into if Expedia or Hotels.com or any of those other giant travel websites out there have affiliate programs. Sign up for those. Drop those down into the description. Now, it's likely only to be a very small amount per sale when doing this, so arguably a better thing to promote would be a course that shows people how to hack their credit card miles in order to get a bunch of free travel. I'm sure a course like that out there exists, so I would look into that and see if they have an affiliate program. or if they don't advertise it publicly, email them and ask if they do. And another option is even making a course yourself that teaches exactly that. And the reason promoting a course is so incredible is that every time you get a sale, there's no cost for actually fulfilling that sale other than the time you might potentially put into it. For example, I do have to put time into my course. I answer every single question daily within my course member community. And you don't have to do that, but I personally do that. I've been doing it for over 2 years now just to give my course students the best possible experience ever and in order to build great relationships with everybody in there. And the amount that you would make per course sale is likely to be much higher than if you promote some travel related affiliate program. So now let's talk about way number 3 to earn income within the travel niche, which would be brand deals. As your channel grows, it's very likely for big travel websites or travel brands to start reaching out and emailing you with potential paid sponsorship opportunities. This is why I always recommend putting an email within the description of all your videos and then also within the about page of your channel. This way brands can contact you and potentially pay you just to mention their brand within your video. Now, the epic thing about the travel niche is that not only could you maybe make money from them paying you in actual money, but you could also potentially get free hotels or free flights in return for then reviewing those or including those within your videos. So that's an added perk potentially of this niche. And for sponsored posts, what I recommend doing is adding up the views of your last 10 videos. And this is as your channel grows, mind you, and then divide that by 10 to see the average amount of views you've gotten per video. Then what you do is you divide this number by 1,000 and you multiply this by a reasonable CPM, say $20 to $30. For example, if the average view count of your last 10 videos was 10,000 views per video, 10,000 divided by 1,000 is 10. Then you take 10 multiplied by a CPM, let's say $30, that equals $300, so you could potentially charge $300 for a sponsored post. And typically integrations range from 10 to 30 seconds. Now, it's really important that you optimize your channel correctly in order to make sure that the time you put into this isn't just wasted. YouTube is one of the best business models out there on the internet, but you need to make sure that you're doing it correctly in order to grow and take full advantage of doing this. And the awesome thing is that it's definitely within your control to do so if you know how. And this video right here will reveal the real way of actually growing your channel and doing this correctly so that you're not just wasting your time with this and you can actually grow your channel as fast as possible. Check out this video right here. My name is Matt Parr. Thanks for watching and I'll see you within this video.